Good evening. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us with the What's Happening in Rolesville live with Mayor Ronnie Currin. Mayor, I'm excited. This is December. We're at the end of the year. It is that fun time of year, festive holiday time of the year. And I always want to make sure that when we have this one show at the end of the year, it's exciting because we have officially done one full calendar year of What's Happening live in Roseville. So congratulations to you, Mayor. Look, I should have had a drum roll in the background.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Rachel. You're a great host. And I tell you, it may be just me. I'm different from others, but it just seems like a year go by so fast nowadays.
Yes, it does.
Before we even get started, here it is, the end of 22. And I'll tell you what, if you're not ready for Christmas and the holidays that's coming up, you're going to miss it because it is going to be here very soon, very quick, and because it goes by fast.
You know, the interesting thing when we think about shows like this. So tonight I'm filming, of course, the Chamber of Commerce office. And one of the things that people distinctively know about the chamber, which you'll probably hear in the background, you probably hear now, our clock, which chimes on the hour and the church bell. So it's one of those things that someone was visiting from out of town and they stopped by here because they were riding through and they saw the Chamber of Commerce. And as they're standing here between the church bells and the clock, they said, you all truly are like that small town feel. And they said it made them feel like a Hallmark movie. So I don't know what that does for people or things like that, but that is definitely something that's interesting about our town.
Yeah,
and
exactly
about the
right.
Chamber of Commerce.
Exactly right. We was over there just about an hour ago. You know, we met at the fire station. We had a little tribute for Rodney, the fire chief that passed away, I think almost 4 months ago. I can't hardly believe that either. And I heard the church bells right at 6. By the time we was getting ready to start, you know, you hear the church bells going off over there. So it does give you a little small town feel. And as we're going to talk a lot tonight about economic development. We're growing. We want to grow. A lot of people want to grow. A lot of people want amenities and more things, places to shop, places to eat, you know, entertainment, live and play here. But, you know, we're going to try to do it and also keep that small town feel somehow. And it's not going to be easy, but we want to do it. That's our mission, and we want to work real hard to do it. And we're going to talk tonight a lot about economic development, what's been going on, and maybe a little bit what's coming. So I'm excited. We did this last year, and so I think it's going to be, you know, sort of a tradition. The last show of the years for economic development, and it's just a great way to end the year, I think.
And what we're going to do, Mayor, I have in the background, we have Commissioner Sutton and we have Michael McFarland. But before we bring them out, I just want to say thank you to everyone who participated in the Rolesville Christmas Parade. Thank you to everyone who came out to watch. We were definitely excited about the crowd having the parade. And I will tell you, the kids had such a good time and the weather was beautiful for the parade.
It was, and you do just a great job. The chamber, you know, the town does. That's one of the functions that the town doesn't do. It's really a chamber that has done that traditionally for years and years, and the chamber does a fantastic job on that, as well as this year. I think every year it gets a little bit better and bigger, and people, you know, more people coming, and I think we saw that this year. Main thing was safe. You know, you guys took a lot of time to make it safe for the people in the parade and along the parade. And it's just a nice day. And the weather, as many of them that I have done in the last, 22 years, I guess I've done 22 of them. It's been some bad days. It's been some days, a little raining or some, snowing a little bit, freezing. But this past Sunday was one of the best, and
well, we did have some snow, Mayor. From if you were there and you saw the law office of Michael Paul actually had a snow machine on their float, so we did have snow at the parade. They did. They had some actual a snow machine on their float, so they were actually making sure that it snowed while they were in the parade. So
it was a great parade. And if people that did not come, I really want to see it on video, because being in the parade, you don't get to see the whole parade, and I want to see it on video. So I'm anxious about when that's going to be available. And I would recommend anybody that was not able to come between now and the holiday seasons, take a few minutes and watch it. How long did it last, Rachel? Was it an hour or?
We work to keep our parade to exactly 1 hour. That is the magic in the sauce, and a lot of that has to do with how long we have to close the roads. Because when you look at the heart of Rolesville and kind of where we are, and we'll talk about that when we bring everyone on and we talk about where the parade route is and going along Main Street, you look at how many roads you close. And we have, behind the scenes, we have so many stories of what happens with the parade. You have people that get lost in trying to work around the route when we close the roads because they're not from here, or their GPS is trying to take them to some stores. And so we had one patron who was trying to get to Ace Hardware, and they had no idea where they were. They just were coming from out of town to get to Ace. And I saw them and I asked one of the officers, I said, Haynes, I said, what is that car doing there? He was like, they're trying to get to Ace Hardware. And, we're sitting here thinking where Ace Hardware is. And I'm like, that's not going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah, you could. Now, you could go around through the village of Rolesville and come up there and come.
I don't think their GPS would have helped them. They were actually sitting. They were sitting where they were, Mayor. It was funny. They were sitting on Pulley Street, and they were kind of just there. And I said, "Oh my gracious!" I did thank them for their patience at the end of the parade, and they looked at me and they said, "Oh, it was nice. We enjoyed it." So I'm glad that they enjoyed the parade while being stuck in traffic too. So that's something to we think about.
That's right. Yeah, a lot of people, and I don't. I haven't been involved in a lot of the traffic stuff, so I don't know the logistics that goes behind doing stuff like that. But it's a lot, and you guys do a great job of that, and well planned. You had a lot of help. I saw a lot of people out there helping. Even I think I saw Kelly from town manager and Jill out there doing something. Yes. You somehow got them to volunteer to help, I believe.
Jill is a fan favorite. I did tell Kelly, who is our town manager, I did call him afterwards and I said, listen, the students love Jill. They just absolutely adore her. And so they kept, Miss Rachel, we love Miss Jill. We love Miss Jill. So that truly for them, she was a lifesaver for them in the parking lot. This is an opportunity for us to allow a lot of our students. We had students from Knightdale High School volunteering, Franklin Academy volunteering. So it wasn't just Rolesville students. And some of them didn't even live in Rolesville. They just came to volunteer. And so for a lot of the students, they were working through I always said the madhouse, which is the parking lot. And you have a lot going on in that parking lot as we're setting up for the parade. And Jill, she worked it last year, her and Kelly both. So they're kind of our veterans, and they were able to help a lot of the students in there and work through a lot of the logistics in the parking lot. So definitely grateful for them and all of our volunteers. We have there's so many people, Jawan Sweat-Batson, Brad Walker, Jill Bright. Those are like my 3 key volunteers that help me keep that parade flowing. So definitely don't want to prolong it, Mayor. Looking at the time, let's get Sheila and Michael in here so we can kind of kick off this panel since I'm doing double duty tonight.
There they are. Hey, Michael. Hey, Sheila.
Hi. Hello, everyone.
Everybody's doing well.
Doing great.
Yeah. Appreciate you all coming on the show. This like I tell Rachel before you guys came on. This is one of the ones I like really well. I mean, we get to talk about economic development, what's happening in Rolesville around economic development, kind of wrap up the year. And I know most people in town know both of you, and probably a lot of people watching, but it may be just 1 or 2 people that don't know who Michael is or don't know who Sheila is. So really, before we start, really kind of give an introduction, Michael and Sheila. We can start with you, maybe. Just who is Sheila, and how do you impact economic development in Rolesville?
Well, I'm Sheila Sutton, Commissioner in Rolesville. I'm in my 2nd term. Let's see. So I'm in my year 7 here. And I'm the shy one on the board. No, not. I'm excited to be a part of this because I've been in Rolesville for now going on 19 years. So when I came, there was one stoplight. I remember that. And I live in the village. So our neighborhood was one of the first newer neighborhoods. So I've kind of watched it transition slowly over the years. And I got engaged with the process of the town because I had young drivers. And I started calling the former town manager, Brian Hicks, going, when are we getting a light on Jonesville Road? Because I have young drivers and I do not want them to be hurt or killed at this deal. And he gave me somebody's number to DOT. So that's kind of how I got involved. And I just want to see us grow from an economic development standpoint. We obviously need businesses in the town to support. We have a lot of residential that continues to come as we grow, but we also need to balance out our tax base by getting some more non-residential. So I'm excited to see that come, but I want to see it be done in a quality method. I don't want us to just throw things up just for the sake of throwing them up. I really want to try to keep the intact small town feel of our community and connectedness of our community. So that's my focus. I want to grow, but I want to do it responsibly. And quality is the word for me. Quality build, quality businesses coming in, and people that want to feed into our community. If you've ever listened to me during our meetings, I say that constantly to developers. I want someone who wants to come here and help our community develop, not just build a home or build a business and take off. So I'll stop there and let Michael go.
That's great. Yeah, Michael, give us a little insight on your economic development, I guess, relationship with Rolesville.
Yeah, sure. Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Michael McFarland. I'm the Community and Economic Development Manager for the town of Rolesville. And I've been working for the town now about, I think this December makes it just 4 years. So my wife and I live just outside of Rolesville. It should be Rolesville. It's just about half a mile south of Rolesville High School out there. And prior to coming to the town, I worked at the North Carolina Department of Commerce and in workforce development specifically, helping businesses find a talented workforce. And before that, I was in a grad school program for community development in the state of Illinois, and served a small town there through the AmeriCorps program, and just with small community development activities for a few years before my wife and I moved out to North Carolina about, I guess, 13, 14 years ago now. So we love it here. Both our children attend Rolesville schools. My wife is actually a teacher here at a Rolesville school. And so we love it here. And I think I'm just passionate about watching the community grow in a responsible way, and get to see my children grow up here and hang out at places and go to different places. And hopefully we'll be able to create some cool destinations for the next generation here in Rolesville in the years to come. So.
That's a great insight, to be able to go to places that don't even exist today, is kind of what you're saying. I think.
Right.
Yeah, and Rachel, you have to put up with me a lot, and you hear me talk a lot, and you've heard me say many times that I think that businesses are the lifeblood of the town and the lifeblood of the community. And if that's true, then the executive director of the Chamber of Commerce is the heart of that. So kind of tell us your role as executive director of the chamber. How does that relate to economic development? And because I think it really does.
Man, it's always interesting when you have to look at different generations that understand and know what a chamber of commerce is a lot of the times, because when you go to some communities, people don't quite know or understand. And so I always like to tell people, in our world, in our business, we like to look at things, and we'll talk about sometimes the 3 C's. We're the catalysts, we're the conveyors, and we're the champions of the community. And that can be for business and also for citizens. One of the things that we look to do is, especially here in this role, as I work to lead the chamber, is we work to be a conduit between the business community and the community itself. And so a lot of that has to do with, one, making sure we partner with the right groups, making sure we step up to some of the challenges of the community, especially our business community, and being advocates for them. And then also making sure we build those business relationships as we're looking at businesses who are interested in, one, coming to Rolesville or even doing business in Rolesville. And a lot of that, you look at programs that we have like Launch Rolesville, which last night we had our graduation for 13 businesses, and we're excited about them because we look at the beauty and the wonderful things that come out of that program. When you look at entrepreneurs and you look at some of the businesses that are already in existence and come actually to participate in the program. And nothing makes them more excited when they look around the room and they have the mayor, they have Commissioner Sutton, they have Commissioner Medley in the room listening to their pitch night, listening to their business, asking them questions. I mean, it's amazing how the little things like that just mean so much to them and give them kind of fuel that fire. And even asking me questions about, Rachel, so I met the economic development manager, like, how really can he help me? And so things like that we look at and kind of make sure we do, Mayor. But a lot of times people, when you see me or you see someone from the chamber, we are truly active in the community and just want to make sure people know we're here for them. So that's an easy way to say what we do, but that's a nice, quick way to put it out there.
Yeah, exactly. Michael, I'll start with you on this question. 2022 is winding down. Looking back in 2022, what in your perspective, what do you think the biggest achievement has been in economic development for Rolesville this year?
I think, trying to pick the top one. Well, I think one of the big announcements in the town was the grant money we received for the Main Street improvement project. So I think that was monumental for the town, the size of Rolesville, to receive about $12 million in grant money for over a $20 million project overall. So that's going to be transformative for this town. And we might talk about that a little bit later. But this $20 million project is going to really, just revitalize and transform Main Street. We're realigning the intersection with Main Street at Burlington Mills Road, and just installing some new crosswalks, some bike lanes, new curb and gutter, and just kind of making the Main Street, trying to create a downtown destination with Main Street and making it safer for pedestrians and bicyclists for all modes of transportation. So really trying to create that walkable community. So I would say just getting that additional grant money to make this project become a reality, which will actually begin here in 2023 in the first week of January. So we're going to start to see some work out there in 2023. And so good things are coming our way.
Yeah. And like you said, we may touch on that a little bit more, because I think that is probably, especially for 2023, that's going to be really, everybody's going to see what's going on in 2023, especially with that program. Rachel, I guess looking back in 2022, does anything stand out in your mind as being the most significant economic development thing from a chamber perspective?
Mayor, we have quite a few, but one of the things we look at when you think about kind of some of the factors that drive economic development and you look at kind of how those play out, one of the key things, if anybody knows me, technology is a key part for me. That's like the biggest thing. So technical, logical advancements are always big for us when you look at successes of what we've been able to do. A lot of what we do at the Chamber of Commerce, for example, a lot of people, when they look at things like this show and some of the things we're able to offer, this is all ran through the Chamber of Commerce. So we've looked at turning an operation that, I will tell you, when I came in 5 years ago, there was a lot of paper. It was heavy on paper and how we do things. We could be truly one of those things where we have helped our community utilize technology. We saw the most of that in 2020, but when we get to 2022, I have people that are calling me saying, no, Rachel, I've already done it. And so for us, working with the community to embrace our technological advancements has been huge for us. And that's huge when it comes to our economic development, because when you look at businesses coming in, and a lot of them want to know, hey, what are the options of one? We have fiber now in the area. So that's really huge for us. And when you look at businesses being able to operate, you can have a business, but you don't necessarily have to have a brick and mortar business to have that business run. You can look at being in a co-working space. You can look at working from home. You have options for you. And then when you come to the chamber, we'll help you look at some of those options that are available for you, how you can connect with people, how you can make that work. We now offer, and this has not been announced to our chamber membership, but we have an option now to do live webinars for them. And it was streamed through this platform that we're actually on tonight. So that's something that where we work with our chamber members to give them options, Mayor. And for a chamber of our size, a lot of people, the things that we do, people don't realize kind of the operation behind it that makes it work and makes it run. We're not a huge operation here, but we like to put out a good quality product. And so that's for us. And I know my board chair, Terry Simmons, is on. I see her comment down there. That's one of the things we want to make sure happens, is that we can use technology to advance not only our chamber members, but also the business community here in Rolesville. And so that was huge for us this year, is for the embracement of technology.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right, because that's the future. And, you know, business of the future is going to be a little bit different from businesses in the past. So if you think about economic development, you got to be looking ahead and not as much as back. Sheila, you know, as representative to people and your citizens and your neighbors and stuff like that, anything stand out in your mind as being kind of the one thing that's outstanding for 2022 that happened in economic development?
It's hard to pick one, but since Michael and Rachel commented on Main Street and technology, because I was over here going ting ting ting. I love ting.
Right.
It's been woo great. But the one thing that stands out to me, I guess I have kind of an affection towards this particular development that's coming. Cobblestone is coming. Yes, they are. Hopefully, we'll be going upright soon. We'll see some things. But Walbrook, I think, is particularly something that I'm excited about, because I think I met with Austin in 2019. Of course, that was pre-pandemic. Mm-hmm. So threw out some ideas and some things and stuff we'd like to have, and then the pandemic hit. So who knew if anything was going to even transpire from that? So I'm excited that he has the relationships that he has, him and his company, Crossland Southeast, has the relationships and was willing to really take a chance on Rolesville, because they're early adopters. So I am proud of that. And I'm excited that even though we have a Publix close, I love Publix, and to be able to walk to it from my neighborhood, get my steps in and go get some groceries. I'm excited about that. I'm excited about all the different things that they've offered to upgrade that area. So I'm just excited about that project. But I just remember it was our first discussion. I want to say it was February 2019. And then you guys know what happened in 2020. So It could have been, they could have just walked away, but they didn't. And I really see them as a community partner. They're about investing in our community. And Michael, you'll have to help me with the number of the amount of money that they're investing in Rolesville. That's a lot. And they're doing a lot to help with the roads as well.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Sheila. And also Cobblestone, you mentioned Cobblestone, you know, both of those I imagine, I don't know the details, but I imagine it's been difficult for both of them during this this pandemic, and they both, you know, a lot of places things didn't come out the other side, and they both, it appears they are coming out and they're getting ready. I think Cobblestone should go vertical very soon, and like you said, Walbrook I think is planning groundbreaking in spring of the next year. So I think we're going to see both of them go. Rachel, talking about, you know, 2022, you know, we see this big building now there on the corner of Main Street and Rayford Drive. What does that building, in your opinion, what does that building do for economic development in our town?
It opens up so many avenues. One of the things that is so key when you look at that building, and some people just are like, oh, it's one building, it's the first building of its kind. So when you look at that building sitting there, it will, one, change the landscape of what our future buildings will look like. It also, Mayor, it opens up the opportunity for businesses to go in there. So when we look at one, our area, yes, we are small town, right? We're small town. We are mom and pop. We are kind of at that cusp of where people look at it and say, okay, where do you want your town to go? You don't want to lose that small town feeling. But when you look at that 3-story building that sits there on the corner, right now you're looking at it like, oh, I didn't even realize it was the only one of its type. But when you look at kind of the landscape of how it changed and how it looks nice, that's what we want. We want Main Street to look nice. Mm-hmm. And part of that, when you stop, sometimes I think for us, when we're behind the scenes, we see things, we see the plans, we kind of know what's coming, so you don't really stop and look at it. During Fall Fest is when I actually stopped and just looked at it because I had to walk. So I stopped and just looked at it, and I was like, it looks so nice. I mean, just the building, the parking lot. And you asked me, Rachel, how could a parking lot look nice? Trust me, it looks nice. That's what that does for us. So when businesses are interested in coming to this area, you want to present them something that is visually pleasing. I mean, let's just be honest. First impressions are so important. And that's why the chamber works so hard. We tell people all the time, we are an extension of your business. We make sure that we represent Rolesville in the highest light, whether it be the town of Rolesville, the Chamber of Commerce, the church, the fire department, police department. We work hard to make sure we represent in the best light. So that one building to some people is just a building. You know, they're like, oh, it's another dentist's office, or oh, it's another 3, you know, it's right there next to the elementary school. But there's so much attached to that for us is a plus when we look at how we can develop one Main Street in the future look of Main Street.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, Sheila, I think Rachel's, you know, said it looks good. It's a nice looking building and all. And I know Main Street is one of your you know, big passions. Do you agree? I mean, is that kind of our vision and your vision of Main Street in the future? Does that building fit kind of what we're envisioning there?
Well, I think your Main Street is your gateway, kind of your hub of your town. So I think you should protect it. I think you should encourage, you know, great quality. That Q word is what I'm looking for, quality development there. And yeah, I like the building, and it is the first of its kind. And when I'm walking now, I'm like, whoo, it feels like it's going to come down on me because I'm not used to the buildings being that close or being that high, I should say. But yeah, I think it's important that you have quality development on your Main Street, because that's what people are going to come through. That's what they're going to recognize as Rolesville. When you go to any major city, you remember the downtown or that main corridor. You don't generally see where people live. You see kind of the main hub, and we want that to be our main hub. So from the bypass, when you enter, it should all just look like, wow, this is nice. And you know that you're somewhere, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
Yeah, exactly. It should feel like, wow, where's this? This is nice, before they even know who we are. So yeah, I'm very territorial about Main Street.
Yeah, there you go. And Michael, I think you may have been involved with that building from the very beginning, from the concept. I'm not exactly sure about that, but I think you were. I think you were economic director when it actually was proposed to us and it came. Did it turn out the way you was envisioning it to turn out? You thought it was going to turn out? Did it turn out, in your opinion, good? And I guess a bigger question: can it be reproduced? Is it something that's similar that can be done more and more times?
Yeah, I think so. I think some of the conversations we had in the beginning were around the look and feel of the building and how it might fit in with a theme that we had started with Main Street Park with the arch way to the entrance. There's some sort of earth tone stone pillars there on either side when you enter Main Street Park. And if you go to the North Main Street, when you're coming into town, coming south into town up there, and you see the Welcome to Main Street sign, we have some stone and earth tone themes there with that sign, and then also on 401. So we worked with that developer, and if you notice their landscaping, they kind of continued with that same theme at that retaining wall where their parking lot is. Rachel mentioned the nice looking parking lot. So I believe there was some value engineering that needed to be done to save some money there, but the bricks was a nice touch, and I think it's a really quality building that looks really nice there. And some of us might not remember before was an old dilapidated house. So that development actually removed a dilapidated home that was kind of an eyesore right there on Redford Place. And so we have that nice new building there now. So
see, Michael, I didn't want to say that. I was trying to keep it clean, Michael. I was trying to keep it clean.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that building is probably one of the important things that's happened in 22 with us. And I'll throw this question out. One of you can jump on it. The first one jumps on it, be good. And then we'll move on to something different. But doing the building, I know I heard a lot of comments from, not a lot, I shouldn't say a lot, a few comments from some people. Well, it's too close to the road, it's too tall, it's too this or too that. But I think we were trying to create a feel of a main street versus a boulevard or something with buildings setting off in the back and things like that. We didn't have a downtown or main street, and I think we was trying to create that. Were we successful? I mean, after it's done, did it turn out a good thing? The location and the position of it and everything else. Somebody can jump on it. Whoever want to have opinion on it.
I just think it feels like it's close to the road, but I think it's within what we designated. It's exactly what we designated, but it's because there's no other buildings up to that part of the road yet. So I think as Main Street is developed, it'll feel more normal. Like, okay. And when you go to downtowns in different cities, the buildings are closer to the road, right? The parking's usually in the back. So this is the start of a true downtown.
It is.
Wow, how exciting.
I think it just it's new for people. So it just feels a little different. And the interesting thing, the one funny thing I remember is last year they were working on the building doing the Christmas parade, and they actually stopped and sat there and watched the parade while they were working on the building, because they were working on it. The noise from the construction, it was interrupting some of the patrons who were there viewing the parade, and they actually did stop out of respect for the parade, which was really nice to them. So you think about, things like that, where they sat there and I saw them up there watching the parade. So we think about how much progress we've made in just that short period of time also.
And I just want to add one other thing, because Michael mentioned specifically the signage that comes into Rolesville. That was something that I was passionate about too, coming onto the board, about us having branding, like what signifies Rolesville. And I know we had the I want to say the vintage or the legacy small town bright future. But I love like the arch over the park. It lets you know that you are somewhere. I actually love that. But I love how when you come into Rolesville now, it has the blue sign over the granite, and it's significant because there's granite in Rolesville. And I was like, that is perfect. That sign just brightens it up, and it's so welcoming. So I think our branding effort, I think that was the start of something. And I'm glad to say that I think it brought people in, and it showed people that, hey, they're serious. They're doing something. The wayfinding signage, I love it. At our parks, the green signs that are highlighted like this window is, I love that. And because green means you're growing, right? Yeah. You're lively, you're alive. So anyway, I think that has a lot to do with your economic development, because I think people are drawn to your community when you show that you care about your community. And I think that shows that we care about where we live.
Yes. And I think I will tell you, Michael Foreman in the comments agreed with you, because he did say y'all did a great job on Main Street Park. So definitely he agrees with us in those sentiments. So, and I'm not sure if Michael had some technology challenges. I did shoot him a message really quickly to make sure he was okay. So I just want to make sure it's not, we do understand some things happen. Mayor and I can definitely attest to the technology challenge.
That's no problem. He'll probably be back. Hopefully we'll.
Yes.
So we talked a little bit about Main Street, and I think Michael mentioned it's starting in next month. It starts in January, and that's over a $20 million project. I mean, it's a huge project. And to me, it's more than just a street improvement. It's more than a street improvement. It's actually a vision of a street improvement with the vision that all ties together that creates economic development along Main Street from one end to the other, basically from Cobblestone to Walbrook. $20 million is spent, in doing that. Whoever wants to jump in and we'll just have an open discussion on that. Is that a well spent? Do we feel like that's a well spent project and it's really going to, in other words, we're going to get benefit out of a $20 million project?
Yes, yes, and yes.
And yes,
Yes.
double,
And yes
triple
again.
yes.
Yes again. It's Mayor, the one thing I have noticed, and I know from my lens, when sometimes we see the comments online and we read the groups and things like that, and people question why some decisions are made or why you're doing this and why you're making that investment, it's all part of the bigger vision. And one of the things I can definitely say when people, make some of the comments and things like that online, I do know I can say that, there's a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes. And we know that, I love this saying that service is the rent that you pay to be on this earth, right? So we know that our elected officials are not, out here, getting whatever. And it's a service to serve in those roles. And so we know the decisions that are made by our town board are not easy ones. But one of the things we do know is that when those decisions are made, they're made for the future and the vision of Rolesville. So for us, for me, I can only speak for Rachel. When you ask me, is it a great investment? Yes. I mean, we see the plan. We've been a part of, Michael and I think we've been working on like different economic development plans and what we want to see as the future of Rolesville and kind of what do we want to use as the conduit to get some of those things that we want, particularly from a business perspective. Here, and we talk about businesses. Businesses are what keep things flowing. We all see inflation. We all see the impact things are happening. And we all look at, places like Amazon are laying off. Your shipments may not come on time. Well, guess what? If you go down to local charm, you won't have to worry about a shipment or a delivery. It's things like that of why small businesses are so important and why we work so hard to make sure we make them easily accessible and why we want them in our community. So for me, from a business perspective, yes. So I'll let Sheila and Michael handle it from the other side, but over here, yes.
Yeah.
You get no disagreement from me. I felt like we won I said we won the development lottery, because for us to get that grant for Main Street, that's when commercial mixed use developers started really taking us seriously. Like, wow, they're serious. This is happening. So that says a lot. And so for us to be able to get that, and I have to give some credit to our former planning director, Danny Johnson, because he was instrumental in saying, hey, we need to do this. And it takes work. It doesn't just happen. Staff is working on these things. There's a lot of information that goes in there. So I truly felt like when Kelly called and said, we got the money, I was like, we won the lottery for development. And so I just think it's just going to bring more quality developers to our community because they see that we're serious, and you can see the pictures. It is beautiful. I can't wait to walk down Main Street. I cannot wait.
Just stop by and pick me up on the way or call me or text me. I'll meet you at the corner. We can walk together.
Yeah.
I was just going to add to piggyback on what you both said. I mean, when I'm talking to prospective businesses or commercial real estate agents that are representing developers or people interested to come to Rolesville, and I start talking about what the town has envisioned for Main Street and the plan and the grant money we received, I get excited. They get excited. It makes them want to come here all the more and pick a place and pick a spot on Main Street because they know like this is going to be where it's at in the next 3 to 5 years, 10 years. So it's really a great selling point for Rolesville.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly. And I know Sheila mentioned Danny, planning director, former planning director, is instrumental. And I think before we leave this discussion, you have to also recognize probably one of the most instrumental, if not, I believe probably the most instrumental, was our late Mayor Frank Eagles.
Yes.
Because the money comes through an organization called CAMPO, which is Capital Area Metropolitan Planning Organization, which divvies out federal money for road improvements and Main Street improvements. And he was networking with them well enough to see the vision and have first a grant to do the plan. First, it took a grant to do a plan, and then a grant to actually construct it. And we'll have to give him plenty of credit. But also, and I'll throw this out. We're sort of in the the final stages where you just blast out the blast stage, because time is running quickly. But I hear sometimes about the bypass, development on the bypass, and versus, we're not getting development out there pretty much. But, more I think about it, is it better that we are getting Main Street development versus bypass development? In other words, is there a advantage that we have in that everything is not going to the bypass and nothing is happening on Main Street? What's your thoughts on that?
I was driving in Wake Forest the other day, and I was looking at the 98. I was on the 98 bypass. I'll usually go that way if I need to go north. And I'm just noticing their bypass is just really starting to develop. And I remember when we first moved here, we've been here probably about 24 years in the Raleigh area. And I just remember when that was just woods, right? And then the bypass came, and how long it's taken that bypass. And Wake Forest is over 50,000 people. So I think there are some challenges with the bypass because there's no roads. And a lot of times we know roads are expensive to build. So it's a lot easier to come and connect to a main street, right, that's already built, than to go and create whole new roads in your bypass area. And you have so many restrictions because of DOT. I do think it will develop over time, but I think it is a process. And I think your main street will develop first, and then it'll start to go out, kind of like Wake Forest. So the next time you guys are on the bypass, if you haven't noticed it on 98 bypass, they now have Wegmans, they have some office buildings. But if you look, there's not a whole lot on that bypass, and it's been there for a while. So that's something I noticed the other day. So great question.
Yeah, and I was just going to add, a lot of times you'll hear economic development is a marathon and not a sprint. And it takes time to get something going and get developments going and attract development. And something we did just this past year was to start laying the foundation for future commercial development along the bypass. And that was our feasibility study for commercial growth. And so we looked at about 1,100 acres out there among about 20 to 25 property owners and properties, just to kind of do a high level analysis of, is this area, does this make sense for future commercial development? And the answer was yes. And so that study sort of laid some foundation there. And our next steps are to look at updating our comprehensive plan, to start designating some properties out that way for future commercial development, and continue to talk to landowners out there. So I think it's coming, and we're just beginning now to think about that and lay the foundation. And but it will be a 5, 10, 15-year process before we might see something out there. But we got to do the work now in advance to get there someday. So.
And Michael, you mentioned landowners. I just want to add this real quick. You mentioned landowners. So if you're going to have a commercial development on your bypass and you have a landowner that their land is now designated as, I don't know, is it farmland but anyway, the taxes are really low. So if they then turn that to and advertise it or switch it over to commercial, their property taxes are way higher. So it's a dance that you go through as well, because you have impacted owners that may be taxed unnecessarily if you just start advertising it as commercial. So it's a process to it as well.
Yep. And we want to and that's where the town can maybe step in and partner with the landowner to think about ways, if we do want to market a property together in partnership, how do those additional taxes maybe get covered until the land sells to a commercial development? Yes,
exactly.
And another thing, Mayor, we want people to also look at is that you want to look at something that's citizen focused too. A lot of what we're based off of, when you see that green of the growth, we're also looking at walkability. So when you want to think about that, you want something
Right.
that people can walk to from their homes and have
Right.
a great time and be able to experience something and not have to get into their cars all the time to be able to get to a restaurant or be able to get to the store or even just go hang out and have coffee if you want to. So that walkability piece is a huge part of the basis and based off of what our town branding is. When you look at that, we have the bike as a part of that. We have the green, we have the blues. So we're focusing on not only being a healthy community and making sure we can walk and be active. So that's some of our focus too. When you look at that from a development perspective, is we want to make sure we take care of you too, because we are citizen focused.
Yeah, exactly. And as it gets more and more, we're gonna have people living in downtown, and we don't have a lot today. I mean, like Sheila lives close by. She can walk to downtown, but she actually lives out in a neighborhood that's not downtown, and there actually be people downtown. So we're getting close to the lightning round. We're getting closer and closer. So throw out some things real quick. The furniture market closed down, the furniture store, and we got some new businesses in there. It seems like to me, they're doing really well. What are you guys thinking from an economic standpoint?
They're doing great. They're doing great. It's that area is now called, it's two things actually. One is called Creative Exchange and one is called Peak Boutique. I just saw Taylor tonight, who is with Creative Exchange. And then it's so interesting. I'm going to stop by and see Lawrence. It's Lawrence and Cheryl, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm remember it correctly, that are at Peak Boutique. But if you're looking at the furniture store, it's honestly great usage of that space. It gives a lot of our businesses, our small businesses, an opportunity to be able to have a space in there. So I'll speak to Creative Exchange first. Creative Exchange is broken up into segments where you can come in and display your business in kind of a section, like Cartoon Jordan. She has a space in Creative Exchange. So if you're looking for a brick and mortar, you want to go have the caricature done or something of that nature, you can go see her there. And so there are a bunch of other entrepreneurs, small businesses that have spaces in Creative Exchange. Peak Boutique is actually almost the exact same thing. The difference is it is local artist focused. So if you look at those buildings now, you'll start seeing that there's some artwork on the side of them. It's more eclectic art, which is still, if you go in, I mean, it's funny. There was like I went in there the other day and it was a ship made of soda cans. So it's something, when you look at your community, we know how important arts are to the community. And so it gives our artists an opportunity to showcase their artwork, their materials, their crafts, and things like that. So it's turned into something beautiful, something great for our community. And we've been able to help more local entrepreneurs, more local artists be able to showcase their work.
Exactly. Yeah. And then, a lot of people don't know it, but the building is actually owned by Rick Edens and his family business, and he was really excited about getting that artwork up there, and he's done a great job. And I think we need to reach out to him and thank him for that, because really it does, it really adds a lot. And hopefully as we go forth, I know some of us are working on it. We're going to have more artwork around town. There's more buildings that's going to be getting artwork and stuff like that. And he did that on his own, and that was a really great job. Let me throw another one out there real quick. The Pine Glow building. We hear about the Pine Glow building. It's got a lot of potential there, a lot of size, and a lot of things. And I know it's, to me, it sounds like there's just a lot of things being considered there. Michael, anything latest on the Pine Glow building?
Well, Mayor, hold up. Before we go to Pine Glow, I do want to also say, for the former furniture store, we have been able to relocate CrossFit Rolesville. They've also changed their name, but they're also going into one of the spaces there, which gives them a much larger facility to be able to grow their business. So that was one I always try to make sure I get all my businesses. So that's one more that's here in this space of the furniture space. So there you go, Michael. Look, ting, is your turn.
Sounds great. Yeah. So a new owner has bought the Pine Glow building. Pine Glow moved over to Zebulon, actually, and the new owner recently rezoned that to general commercial. It used to be an industrial site, so now that's general commercial. And a name that's been thrown out there for the new sort of enterprise is Glow on Main. So kind of using some of that Pine Glow name in there and working that in there to Glow on Main. And some ideas, nothing's been approved yet, but some ideas that have been thrown out are indoor recreation, I believe the new owner's in talks with an organization that does ice rinks, hockey rinks. So thinking like the factory in Wake Forest, maybe doing something like an ice rink or a pickleball court or a basketball court inside, perhaps a farmer's market type idea or food court idea outside there, perhaps a brewery or coffee shop. So there's a few ideas that are going around. Again, nothing set in stone yet. And the owners just starting to talk to people, interested parties that might want to move in there. So we're excited about what that can be. That's going to be that's a great site there, great potential to be right there on Main Street. So we're hoping it'll be a nice gathering place for the community.
That's great.
I love it. I'm excited about both. I've been in the Creative Exchange. And what was the name of the other side? I've been to both sides.
Peak Boutique.
Peak Boutique. So I've been to both. And I love it because I feel like what a great idea. It was a great reinvention. I love when you take, I call it vintage. That's my word, vintage or legacy. And you create something new out of it, because you can always look back and say, hey, this was this. And it's at kind of the original crossroads of the town. So it has a lot of significance there. And I love the name. I'm a creative person, so I love the name. And then I'm excited about Pine Glow too. And the big thing I'm excited about is, like you said, Ronnie, I live close, so I could walk to all of these things.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. It's another new thing coming into town I want us to mention real quick. And they're called the Carolina Legacy, which is a volleyball facility, which is under construction now, and it's pretty massive. I drive by there a lot. It's pretty big. And I think it's something like that. You don't think of it as a business per se, but it brings people in town for things happening, for events, weekend events, and it's our first. And I like things that is our first. Any thoughts on the legacy volleyball, Carolina Legacy there? And they actually named it Carolina Legacy. So it's almost it's not even a regional name; it has a state name to it.
Yes, I love it. I love it.
It does. I will say tournaments, being a former athlete and a coach myself, tournaments bring in a ton of money. I mean, tons of money, not just for Carolina Legacy, but also for your community. The economic impact from having a tournament or even having some type of holiday showcase or anything of that nature. And I'm hoping they do a showcase here, because showcases bring in tons of money. But the one thing is, it's a benefit for your businesses. When you look at the proximity of where the Carolina Legacy volleyball facility will be to Cobblestone, to Young Street, to the bypass, it all makes sense. Not only that, you look at them being on Granite Falls Boulevard, which is right there next to Granite Falls. So there's a lot of it that just makes sense. And then also you look at the option of having more facilities in your area. So here, when you look at, if you're an athlete or if you have a team or something of that nature, you don't have many places here that you can actually go and actually use the facilities, whether you want to train, whether you want to work out, whether you want to have a practice or something of that nature. You don't have many options here. That gives us another option here in Rolesville for our athletes. I mean, we have some great athletes that come out of Rolesville that are doing wonderful things, and it gives us more space. And also, volleyball is really huge. It is amazing the amount of just revenue that volleyball can bring in. I have a family member that played volleyball. She went to college and played volleyball on a scholarship. She signed a contract to play internationally. Then COVID hit, but still, it was, when you look at the amount of workouts and the training and everything that's attached to that, that is a year-long sport. It's not seasonal. It's not something where you just play for these couple of months. It is truly year-long. And I know I've met the owner and talked to them. They're excited. The players are excited, not only here in Rolesville, but I've seen posts from people outside of Rolesville that are excited about the building actually being here, because it will give them an option close by.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm excited too. Yeah, I agree. I remember the groundbreaking ceremony we went to, and I was excited, but then when I listened to those young ladies speak and the owner and all the folks involved, they were so excited. You couldn't help but get excited. Not to mention that it's an awesome form of exercise. And like Rachel mentioned, it's so close to Main Street. You can walk there, you know, and I do think the more sporting facilities we get, I do think we'll start getting interest from hotels. It's kind of a natural progression.
Right. Yep. My daughter just started playing volleyball, so we're excited.
Yeah, close.
Yep. Close by.
Love it.
I tell you, we're running short of time. We got so much to talk about, but one of the things I wanted to see, and I was thinking about this before the show, and really nothing comes to mind, but have there been any economic disappointments in 2022? You know, the only thing I can think of, it just didn't happen as fast as we was hoping. And I think, as we talked about, the pandemic probably caused some of the slowness that we have seen in 2022 and some of these things getting started. But any real disappointments from anybody? Think of anything or anything come to mind?
So I will boldly go where no one may want to go. Something that disheartens me a little bit, and I know I've heard that it's environmentally sound, but I just think our food line area can be improved. And I would love for that owner to work with us to improve that, because it's right there. And every time I go to that parking lot, I'm telling y'all, I don't park in that little slanted part, even though it may be sound. I go further up, right? But that I just would like to see us be able to get a hold of that whole area and improve it, because it's such a great spot. So I'd love to work with those folks and do some things like some facade grants and some different things.
Yeah, and I think we would include the Dollar General in on that.
I just didn't say it, but right.
We're trying to be what's the word for it? Nice, Mayor. We're trying to
really the Dollar General does have a Main Street front or side to it or whatever, but it does have a Main Street presence. So I think you're right, and I really think hopefully things is going to start picking up in 23, and some of the disappointments and some of the slowness kind of will go away.
Sure.
So Rachel, I don't think I think we'll end the show a little bit different tonight rather than we normally do, and we'll just keep the guests on until you hit the stop button.
We will. I do want to show one thing, Mayor.
All right, we are running against time, so we just keep everybody on. But any closing thoughts from anybody? Sheila, you want to go first? Any closing thoughts?
Well, I just want people to know that you have a really good town board. A mayor that cares about the town. You have a town board that cares about the town and the quality that comes here. And we have an awesome town staff. You got a lot of committed people. I'm getting chills saying that because I mean that from the bottom of my heart. You go to some towns and people are out for themselves and trying to do different things, but you have a lot of us that are doing things behind the scenes because we live here and we care about our community, or we live close to here and we want to see our community prosper and grow in the right way. So just know that, including the chamber. I mean, what Rachel does is well beyond her salary. I'm sure she devotes tons and tons of time to this community. And she's always like, you don't have to be a chamber member. Just come and talk to me. So you have good people in this community that cares about this community. And I am so very, very proud of that and look forward to what's to come. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, right. I would just echo that as well, what Commissioner Sutton said. And I think 2023 is going to be the year where we start to see the landscape changing. So things have been put in place. We've been planning for a while. There are a few delays, like you mentioned, Mayor, but I think 2023 is when we're going to start to see, and definitely out on Main Street, you're going to start to see things change. So get ready. It's going to be exciting.
Woo-hoo.
Exactly right. And it's going to be a lot of work going on out there. So be patient with the work.
Right.
Too. Be very patient, because I think it's an 18-month project. Is that right?
Yep. Yeah. About 18 to 22 months. Yeah.
18 to 22 is what they're telling us now. So I'm just asking everybody to be patient on it, because sometimes things are worth the wait, right? And and this is one of those things. It's going to be well worth the wait and and probably the inconvenience of having it done. It's going to be well worth it on the back end. So it's going to be worth it. So you had something, Rachel, you wanted to show?
I did. I'm proud of this. I'm gonna show it. I don't know if you can see
Oh
it.
yeah.
We love this is the first one Michael and I worked on together, and definitely some labor pains, but definitely proud of that. And I just want to put it out there because it's time for us to kick off and work on another one. So if you have ideas of what you want to see in there, what you don't want to see in there, let us know. I think sometimes it's interesting when I can't even remember how long we worked on that, but just the work that goes into putting that thing together is just, but we want to make sure that everything's represented. And, I have ideas and thoughts as always of what I would love to see in there. And so we're looking at our next one. Michael, what did I say? The next one would come out probably, this is 2022. So we will start sometime next year looking at doing the next one. So hopefully looking at it coming out, I think in January 2024 for the next one, the next town guide. And it is digital too. You can access it from the town site, from the chamber site. It is digital. You can click on and do a couple of other things, but that is something too. It is a resource for you here in Rolesville. So we want to make sure that you know that exists. That's really important for us. So I don't have anything else, Mayor. It's December.
Thank you. My closing thoughts. Appreciate all of you coming on. This has been a great show. It just goes by too fast, obviously, but I just want to reach out and thank all three of you. I don't know if y'all remember or not, but it was 2 or 3 years ago. I said you three are the trio I want to work together to improve economic development here in Rolesville. I gave y'all trust to do that. Y'all have done a great job. All three of you have worked together as a tremendous economic development team here in town. You have done a fantastic job. All three of you have worked tirelessly together, I would say, to make things happen. And I really appreciate that. I think some of the things I look back on, I said, that was a dumb choice. But looking back on this one, it was a great choice. You guys did a great job, and I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Last thing, let's end the show. Kind of the way we did at the tree lighting. I'm gonna do a little countdown and everybody say Happy New Year, and we end the show on that. Let's don't do Happy New Year. Let's do Happy Holidays. So ready? 5. Hold
on, Mayor. You can't do it yet.
Okay, you get ready then.
Look, two more things. Breakfast with Santa is on Saturday, so come out. Look, support. I always like to tell people, don't miss it. Breakfast with Santa. And then the chamber's having as we like to say, a holiday party. Your favorite PJs is tomorrow night at Arise Co-working at 6:00. So we 2 more events left before we cap off the end of the year, but definitely want to put that out there. So if you see the sign Breakfast with Santa, that is happening on Saturday here in town at the Masonic Lodge or the WG Arnold.
Yeah, that's great. And it's one pitch for the town. I think the town rec department. We're doing a Santa tour again this year, where he's going through the neighborhoods from one place to the other. I can't remember the date.
17th.
17th. So check the website for the times they'll be coming in particular streets and stuff like that. That's a well perceived thing in the past. So really kind of look forward to that. Any other plugs, Sheila, Michael, real quick?
A lot of parties. A lot of parties.
Yep. So ready to go?
I'm ready.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy
holidays. Happy holidays, Rolesville.
See you later.
Take care.